Okay, it's a couple minutes after the hour, so let's go ahead and get started with our seminar. I see that we are being recorded already, so this is a little bit different type session than we've had with the other webinars in that it is not meant to be a presentation because we've already presented FACEIT in a couple of previous webinars and in one workshop here in Gainesville. So what we want to do this time is open it up to questions, and we're hoping that we've had some users, that you've got now some experience with using FACEIT, and we'd like to be able to start interactively working with you to solve any problems that you're having. So I welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where in the world you are. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, if you've just climbed on, you might notice in the chat window that Alison Brizius at University of Chicago Computation Institute, they're the prime developers for the FACEIT system. She's asking for input on who's online, where you're from, what team you're with, have you used FACEIT, and have you had any problems. So we're going to do a little bit of background. I've just got a couple little slides that I'm going to go through to set the stage, and then we're going to open it up and get into the interactive session. This is a bit of an experiment. We haven't done a GoToMeeting webinar in this format before, so I hope it works. But let's get started. So what we want to do is allow our FACEIT users to ask questions. We want to get feedback on the FACEIT system and the features that are incorporated, and are there things that you wish were there that are not there? Are there things that aren't working? So we want to hear back from you on how things are going. This is also an opportunity to request new features, things that you wish were there. And also, since our last presentation and workshop in Gainesville, and since the previous webinars, we have a few new features, so we'll highlight those as well. Okay, so at this point, everyone should have already either attended one of the previous webinars or reviewed the videos online. That was kind of a prerequisite for this. If you haven't, hopefully you can still gain some information from this on what FACEIT is all about. But we're really not going to go into the basics here because we've already presented those and they are available online. At this point, we hope that you've already registered to be a Globus user. So Globus is the basic framework that we're using here in the login credentials. If you haven't, you can go ahead and do that now. We've got David Kelly is online right now, and he will accept your requests as they come in. So you can, it's not too late. You can go ahead and do that and follow along, sign on, and work with the system during the webinar. Once you sign on to Globus, you can request to join the FACEIT group. You log on with your Globus username and password at usefaceit.org. There's also an opportunity to subscribe to the listserv so you can get any information coming out of the FACEIT users group. And there's a separate website called Learn FACEIT to learn more about FACEIT and how to use the different apps. If you have any questions or if you have requests for additional features, you can email them to faceit-support@ci.uchicago.edu. All of this is on the email that was sent out. Okay, this is much the same information. There a screenshot of the learnfaceit.org and the YouTube channel. Also a screenshot of where you register at Globus, www.globus.org, and how to request to join the FACEIT group. So go ahead and do that now if you haven't done it previously, and we'll be standing by to go ahead and accept your requests. Okay, and I want to put a reminder in about what we're going to be doing in Victoria Falls. For those of you that are attending the regional workshop in a few weeks in Victoria Falls, on Monday, June 29th, I think this is day 4 of the workshop, we have a Face It session. The entire afternoon is going to be dedicated to working with the crop workflows, regional integrated assessment workflows. We've also got some new climate applications that the climate researchers will be using. So I wanted to put a plug in for that. I hope you all will be able to attend that. And also in Victoria Falls, Allison Brizius will be there, okay? And she will be attending some of the sessions and mostly the crop modeling and some of the climate sessions, but she's also available to work one-on-one that week with anybody who would like to do that. So we'll have to, figure out how to work the timing of that so that you don't miss anything important in the workshop, but that's another opportunity to learn about Face It. Okay, so just a few protocols. We're going to try to keep all microphones muted except for whoever is speaking at the time. That's just to cut down on the noise. You can send your comments through the chat window and request to speak. We are recording this session. We'll make the videos available for later viewing. And as we get into the interactive parts of the session, there are 2 ways that we can that you can show us a problem that you're having. One, we can enable you to be able to share your desktop so you can actually show us step by step what you're doing. Or alternatively, you can share your workflow or your data or your history within Face It, and we can show you how to do that. And so that way, Wei Zhang, who's going to take the controls when we get into the interactive session, he can actually, once you've shared your workflow and shared your data, he can use it through his login. Okay, so again, if you are interested in interacting, or even if you aren't, please let us know who you are, if you've used Face It, if you've had any problems, and so on in the chat window. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Wei Zhang, and we're going to go ahead. We're just going to start with logging in and show you a few new features, and then we'll get into your questions in just a couple of minutes.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Since the last demos in February in Gainesville, we have lots of the new features on Face It. So I'm going to show the new features and the new functionality we already have, and also if we have time, I'm going to show some simple demos that we can use. So let's log into Face It. Okay, this is the Face It desktop. So first we reorganize the tools. Yeah, so you can see we have different tool shadows. This is the get data. So we have lots of the tools to get data, upload your data, browse and get data through Globus, and also download different type of data, include soil, climate, and experiment, whatever. So in the second category, we have climate tools. Yeah. So in these tool shadows, we have some new functions. Yeah, for regional integrated assessment teams, you can generate your own future scenario, baseline scenario based on the ask stream that generated by Alex before. So you can see we can get a delta shift and to select to generate your own future scenario based on the net CDF files. And all these four tools are developed based on the previous R script, written by Alex and climate teams. So this one is generated .AgMIP farm size weather. Maybe the researchers, climate researchers, must very familiar to these tools. And also generated AgMIP future climate scenarios. You can generate lots of the scenarios based on different GCMs. We have 20 GCMs so far, so you can, so you can generate based on whatever you want, and different RCP and time period. And also we have these tools that produce climate metrics. So that's kind of tools to analyze extreme events for specific weather data, and also some simple plot tools. And also we also have some new features about the pages. Here we have we save some pages. We can start from the pages. So pages, that means that you publish your own data, workflow, and results, and also make some logs on it. So make everybody know what you are doing and what data you use and what you're going to share. So from the pages, you can use import my data. So this is the data for neural maze history. So for example, in this case, you can import my data, import history to your history. So so you can import your data, and also you can import your my workflow. So import the workflow. And if you want to view the results, of my results, you can just click the results and view the result that generated by me. So if you want to repeat the workflow and use your old data, so you can just do it. I already import all the data and the workflow to my history. So we can see here. This is click the saved history. You can see I already imported the data neural maze for demo. So we just can view and use it. And also for the workflow, there's lots of the imported workflow that we can edit, run, or view it. So let us try. Use the pages, publish the pages, and import the data and import the workflow and make the simulation. So the first steps is to connect the shared data. Connect the published pages, and click the pages. And here you can import the data. Click here. You can import the data to your history, and you can import the data, import the workflow to your workflow, and then we can start, to use the data and to use the workflow to make your own simulation. During this process, if you have any problem, just click it on and or speak.
Okay, thanks, Wei. So the pages is a new feature that we did not present before. It's just a way of collecting all of your entire workflow and data and documentation together in one place. So I think that's enough of us talking, this would be a good time to get some requests for help or just some feedback. So I'm going to ask Allison to kind of moderate that, since she has been taking your comments in the chat window.
Sure. Hi. So,
Allison, are you there?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay.
Maybe introduce yourself a little bit, because I think most people have probably not met you.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. So, as Cheryl said, I'm Allison Brizius. I work at the Computation Institute at the University of Chicago on the FACEIT project. And I'm excited to meet a bunch of you, hopefully, at the workshop in a few weeks. And we can answer any questions you have about FACEIT. So we have one question. I'm going to surprise call on you, Sadia. Is that how you pronounce your name? You said you were having trouble logging in. I'm going to unmute you. Can you share a little bit about that? Go ahead and talk.
So Sadia from Pakistan?
Yeah, so she said that YouTube, she's typing. She said that YouTube is blocked in Pakistan. So we need to find a better way to show our videos. That's a very good point. Thank you. So,
okay.
So you said that it works on mobile, but you can't get it at home. Is that correct? Yeah, so not on mobile internet. Were you able to get through logging in Globus? Okay, so it sounds like this is going to be hard. Maybe we can find a time, Zadie, to help.
Is just to one the YouTube issue is Vimeo available in Pakistan?
She says yes. Okay, that's a good idea. We can move some of the videos to Vimeo.
Okay.
So has anyone else had logging on problems or problems seeing the tutorial videos? Okay, so maybe while Sadia logs in and we can get back to that problem, then I know that Davide, you had some suggestions for our protocols and our workflows to make it a little easier, since you've been through the process of getting FACEIT up and running. Any feedback you had on how we could get our tutorials better, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I started using quite some time ago, and at the beginning, when I think I started using when the YouTube presentation was still not there. So with the YouTube presentation, things got better because could be followed through. But I found, for example, as I think some of the people in the regional team we use it, that might not have that either the availability of YouTube or the flexibility of using computer in certain ways. The problem is there needs probably to be some protocol, very simple, very simple, that will walk through people to the step by step what to do. So like step one, just get this file. Step two, put it like that. I think that will help a lot people that have less how to say, less familiarity with computer and everything. We have this issue we had in the first step, even issue with people using crop models on computers, that for them was hard to follow through certain things. So I guess this one would be even a bit more complicated for them. And also, I think, I'm not sure now because I haven't been on GitHub for quite a bit, but the example files that were loaded at the time, there were, and I brought up that in Gainesville, I think, because there were some example files which were not up to date, and then I found other example file with different characteristics. So it would be good to have always the latest update there on the yeah.
Okay, Davide, thanks. that helps a lot. I think since the Gainesville workshop, Meng Zhang has updated all of the JSONs and the sample input data
Right.
on GitHub. So I hope that problem has already been solved. But the one with the step-by-step instructions on how to use Faceit, I think that's a good idea, and maybe we could come up with a series of very short, simple videos that walk people through the basics.
Yeah, that would probably help, because yes, that's probably would be help. And finding a way to deliver this, probably it would be hard to do it before the workshop or maybe soon after the workshop, but it's important, for example, speaking about my team, to deliver to certain people that I know that we're going to do modeling, and that I know that they probably hit some problem when they need to start using this. So that would be trying, you know, I don't know the time schedule for that, but
Okay. Yeah, Davide, can you tell us a little bit about what you've used Faceit for already?
Mostly, I use it for a non-AgMIP related study. I used it. I was I'm running it on barley and wheat, winter and spring barley and winter wheat here in Scotland. So running it over 5-kilometer gridded soil information, and the model was calibrated from my laptop, and therefore I'm building up all the simulation to run on 800 gridded weather and 5-kilometer gridded soil for the whole agricultural soil of Scotland. So that's what I'm running it for, and I'm planning to do it for 3 models actually. 2, the one that are already in Faceit, which is AppSim and DSAT, but the third one I will do it on my desk, on my computer or whatever, would be Wofost, which I know now QuadUI also have the capability of doing Wofost. So that's what I'm using it for at the moment, Faceit, what I'm going to use it soon.
Okay, that's great. The Wofost translator has not been completely finalized yet. It works for weather and I think soils. So
Right.
that's something that
Yeah.
we'll be working with that team on in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Because I saw Sander in Red. I will keep in touch with him and see or with you to see how the things is going there.
Okay.
For the
Very
future.
good.
But is there any plan to put it on Faceit as well, Wofost, or is just once the QuadUI is ready?
Yeah, so once we have the translators completed, I don't see any reason why we couldn't load Wofost as another app. We don't have any immediate plans to do that, but you know, a lot of this is user driven. So if there's a demand for it, then that bumps it up on the priority list of things that we'll work on.
We have access to the source code and looked into compiling it in a Unix environment and everything. So in principle, all the pieces are in place, and we should be able to compile it in Faceit if that becomes a priority. And we should be able to, I also wanted to mention, just in terms of your use cases, Davide, that you know, we are going to be working, especially over the next year, in transitioning the PSIMS tools that are in Faceit to enable the kinds of regional simulations that you want to do directly in the Faceit platform. So that spatial simulation technology isn't there yet outside of what's already possible in the AgMIP tool shed, but we'll be adding more of that as well over the next years.
Okay.
So that'll be within the PSIMS application suite, right, Joshua?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So moving from the EasySim prototype into small-scale regional simulations, targeting exactly the kind of use cases. In fact, the use cases are precisely motivated by Davide's use case of simulating barley at a high resolution in the Scottish region. So.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay, so it looks like thank you, Davide. That was some really good input. So it looks like Sadia is still having problems getting Faceit to load on her home computer.
I just asked, I'm going to jump in, Cheryl, Sadia, if she can share her screen. It sounds like if you're willing, Sadia, I can enable that, and then you can show us where you're having trouble. Okay? So I'm going to change the presenter. Sadia, see if that, it's going to take a second. It had to send a download request. In the meantime, EJ, you said you're having a bit of a problem with histories, and you're testing it now. You also said you're working with AquaCrop. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about how you're using Faceit there? I'll unmute you.
Well, thank you, Alison. Yes, we're trying to follow the Faceit, and we've tried to have an instance at our center here. Unfortunately, our developing a little bit stopped, so we've been able to bridge between the Faceit and the AquaCrop. And I think, and I'm not a crop modeler myself, but I think it would be really nice to have these connections and see these comparisons between these three models, which are very famous for modeling some of the crops also that that are underutilized for our center. So yeah, back to the AquaCrop. Unfortunately, and we had this talk with the group at AgMIP and Cheryl herself. So that connection is still ongoing. And from the Faceit part, I've been really interested to see how it works. But so I had a little bit of problem to load some data, both in the instance that we had it run in our server and the one that you guys have it on Amazon. But right now it seems to be a little bit more smooth. I'm still trying to experiment with it, but it seems to have been resolved. Hello?
Yes. Okay, thanks. Well, if you
yeah, so about the AquaCrop, I'll definitely try and inform you about the things that we're doing.
Yeah, let me comment on the AquaCrop, and then I'll get some of the Chicago folks to talk about the problems with the data. So AquaCrop, we worked with the AquaCrop developers to get a translator developed a couple of years ago, because we wanted that for the AgMIP teams. Unfortunately, they have changed their entire data structure in the meantime, and so the work that was done, pretty much we have to start from scratch again. And that hasn't been started. It just hasn't been a priority. So the translators just aren't there for AquaCrop. And you know, while I'd love to see that happen, we don't have immediate plans for getting those developed and written. So, but again, it's all demand driven, and if there's a huge demand for doing that, then possibly that can rise to the top and become a priority again.
Exactly. I mean, we're really underutilized at the moment. I mean, the list, unfortunately, for AquaCrop is a bit more extensive for us, and we really, I mean, love it to work with the Faceit, but and as you mentioned, there are some obstacles, especially as data structures and adapters. We'll try to look into it and see what we can do about it. Unfortunately, it's a little bit quiet from our part, so hopefully we can do something, and we can collaborate on that.
That would be great. I would love to work with you on that.
Okay,
so I'm really kind of happy to hear that you have installed your own instance of Faceit. I didn't realize that you had done that. I guess you've been working with the Chicago and Argonne folks to do that.
Yes. I mean, we had a little bit of exchange of emails, and they've helped us a lot. Yes.
Okay, that's great. Okay. So do you want to comment more on the problems with loading data? Is that something that we can help you with today?
Well, I think now that was because of the volume and the number of data sets. So now I think with the introduction of these pages, seems to that you can now load these data in. Now I have it working, and I have no problem with it, especially with the newer data set. Seems to be okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, Lydia, I think it's waiting to view your screen. Is it? Are you seeing that request? It seems to have downloaded the. Okay, I'll continue. Go ahead, Cheryl. I'll continue this offline.
Just a final comment
Yeah.
about the outputs and plots. I can see there is I mean, these plots are really I mean, they're really good. I mean, I mention again, I'm not a crop modeler myself, but is there any plan to improve upon these kinds of plots and give a bit of choice to the user to make a bit of custom plotting?
That is something that we welcome your input on. Okay, so we've developed a few standard plots. We've got one app that allows you to plot different variables against each other. I could show that with Wade's help. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay, so if we go to the RAA tools, and then it's the plot Ecmo output relationship, this allows you to choose the variables that you plot, and it will create a scatter plot from the outputs in the Ecmo. So it also allows you to aggregate by things like, you could aggregate by weather station, or you could aggregate by soil or by cultivar, such that you can get different relationships for different groupings of data. So this is quite customizable, and it's a really good way to analyze your data, just to understand what's happening with loads of data that come out of these simulated outputs. So that's one thing. But as far as customizable outputs, let's keep the conversation going. I'd like to hear more about what you want, because certainly we could add additional apps or modify the apps that we've got to accommodate, what our users want.
Yes, I mean it can always be improved. I'm not sure if there is a way for the users, if they have a piece of code in R or Python that makes some of these plottings for them to add to the main core of Faceit. But of course, users they can make their own tools and their own instances of Faceit. Yes.
Yes, that's right. So if you have some programming capabilities, you can create your own apps. In fact, that's one thing that Wei Zhang has been doing. He's been taking R scripts. So all of these climate apps, these are the standard R scripts that Alex Ruane uses with his climate team, Alex and Sonali McDermott. So what Wei has done is taken those R scripts and turned them into Faceit apps. So there is some documentation on the Learn Faceit site that tells you how to do that.
Right. Yes. Yes. I mean, the help pages are improving. I can see lots of work being done on documentations, but as been mentioned before, there's room to improve the documentation and some of these steps by steps also for plotting.
So more documentation on how to use each individual app, is that?
Yeah, that could be really useful, yes, especially for laymen.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you for your feedback. That's really valuable.
Okay.
And the other thing I would add is if you do add apps for visualization or anything else, we would appreciate if you could share them with us and we can add them to our toolshed.
Sure, yes.
Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Sadia. You should see a request to share your screen now. It seems to have transferred. Aha! Success! Everybody can see the screen now?
Yes.
It's getting there.
Should I mute myself?
Sure, or I can mute you.
Okay, that's better.
Sadia, you have to unmute yourself. I can't do that. There should be a little microphone icon, and it should be green. Ah, so she's saying that this is the problem. This screen shows up, has been looking like this for 35 minutes. So it doesn't get beyond this sign-in screen. David, is that something you have an idea of?
So Sadia, can...
Hello?
Hi, great. Go ahead.
Yes, this one from 35 minutes and sign up is no there.
Yeah. Can you go ahead and close this tab and open a new window and go to globus.org?
Yes.
It says that you're logged in, so if you look at in the top right corner, it has your username, so you appear to already be logged into Globus. Go click on that in the top right corner there.
Yes.
Go to the drop down that says quick links. And now go to groups. Doesn't seem to be giving you the groups menu, which is interesting. I've sent you an invitation to join the FACEIT group, which you should receive an email about, and you should receive a notification in your Globus. Go to the drop down that says Sadia, and go to your account information page. There may be something.
Account privacy?
Go to update profile. Yeah, let's just see if we can get anything in Globus to actually work. Huh. Ah, there we go. Something worked. Okay, just click update profile and see if Okay, so it looks like some stuff is working. Try to go back to the groups menu now. So go click on groups at the top. Something is blocking content in Globus from. David, do you have any ideas what might be blocking content? Ah, there it goes. Wait.
Yes.
That worked. Groups. All right, click on Faceit, and then accept invitation.
Accept.
Great. Okay, you now are a member of the Faceit Globus group, so you should now have access to the Faceit tool. So now open a new tab and go to the website usefaceit.org. Yeah, that's right. No dash, no dash. Just use Faceit without a hyphen. Sorry about that. And now existing users log on here. Click on the bottom link. Existing users log in here. Let's try that sequence again. Go back to the usefaceit.org website. Oh no. Okay, that's different. Go back to the to the usefaceit.org and let's see if we can try that sequence again. Click on existing users. It should just automatically. It may be having trouble from your location. It may have trouble contacting the Globus authentication server. That's the only thing I can think of.
It seems like this.
I don't know, David, do you want to take over? Maybe, do you have any ideas?
There it goes. Okay.
Oh, there it goes.
I think it's going.
Third time's the charm. All right.
Okay.
Got it. Perfect.
You're there. That's great. So in the meantime, I am going to move on to, I don't know, Allison, if there are no more questions, I'd like to ask Dakshina Murthy to just give us a little bit of his experience. I know he's been using Faceit already, and he says no problem, so that's great. But just wondered what you're doing, Dakshina, and what you've tried. Murthy, are you available to speak? You may be muted on your end. I'm not hearing anything.
He appears to be unmuted. But I also don't hear anything. Can you type if we're not hearing you, but you're hearing us?
Okay. Well, maybe we can open it up to anyone else who has been using FACEIT and has experiences either good or bad, and just some feedback for us. And if not, we can, we can maybe do a few more demos of, what's new and what's available if people want to see that.
Yeah, if there are anything you'd like to see, go ahead and type it and we can make that happen. Cheryl, I'm switching the screen back to you so you can demo. So one quick question. Jackie, you're from the econ team. If you have any interest in any economic applications or functionalities or economic modeling that would be useful, if you want to say something about that, let us know. Okay, Cheryl, do you want to demo?
Sure. Let's see. We can look at, I think that Wei has shown some of the climate tools, but what I'll do is go to his published page. So I'm going up to shared data, published pages, and I'm just going to look at the climate apps that he's published on his page. And he's got 3 sections here, one for data, one for workflow, and one for results. So if I open the data, I can see that he's got a single .agmip file that he uploaded. And so if you want to use that particular .agmip file, you can go to this little green plus sign and import the history. Okay, so I've imported the history. Now I'm going to start using this history. So over in the right-hand panel, I have a history. This right-hand third of the screen is the history. Histories are kind of a collection of inputs and outputs. You can think of it almost as a filing system. Okay, so in this particular history, it's very simple. I've got one file. Okay, and this is because the history that he created here was the upload of this one file. Okay, so I'm going to go back now to the published page and look at the workflow. So I'm going to expand the workflow that he shared here. So he's got a description. You can make this as long or as short as you wish, and he's just described it as an easy workflow for generating baseline and future climate scenarios. Okay, and it's step by step. Step 1 is to generate the .agmip farm sites weather. So from that one uploaded .agmip file, you can take that and using the AgMIP database, expand it to other locations. And the way you do that is to enter a series of latitude and longitudes. He's got 3 here. It's kind of a funny way of doing it, but this latitude corresponds with this longitude. So this is actually 3 sites, one set of latitude and longitudes. So let me go ahead and import this workflow, and I'm going to start using the workflow. Okay, so this is the climate demo that I just imported. And let's just take a look at it. I'm going to edit it. Okay, so this consists of 3 apps. The first is to generate the farm sites. The second is to generate future climate scenarios. And the third is to plot those climate scenarios or plot the anomalies. Okay, so if I look at the farm sites, I can change my latitudes and longitudes that I am generating. I can, okay, this is because the AgMIP data comes in regions, so these are separated by regions. You can give it an output name and so on. I can choose the climate scenarios that I want to look at. So I can look at the ones we did in phase 1 were the E, I, K, O, and R. So I could look at those 5 climate scenarios or pick whatever you want. and you can look at the which scenario you're looking at. So he had selected RCP 8.5 end of century. I'll just keep that. We have the choice of a delta method or mean and variation. I'm going to keep it on delta. That runs much more quickly. And I can give, I can rename my output data set. This is, I think this was an Embu.
Yeah,
Embu, Kenya, future climate. And you can put all sorts of notes here. This is if you want to save this and share it with somebody else, you can annotate what you've done. And in plotting, we can choose, here we've already got selected maximum temperature, whether you want relative or absolute changes, the format of the plot, a PDF or a PNG format, the input type, whether you're inputting .AgMIP or CSVs, and since this is already, this is pretty much fixed because it's coming out of my previous app as a zip file. And we can add other information as well. If we had other scenarios or so on, we could add them here. And again, I can rename my data set. So since I've made changes, I'm going to come up here to the little gear symbol up in the top right-hand corner of my working window, and I'm going to save the changes that I made. And then I'm going to go right back to that gear, and I'm going to run that workflow. Okay, so it gives you a chance now to select your input data. My history only has one .AgMIP file for input, so there are no choices here. If I had uploaded a bunch of them, you know, here is where you would select it. And I'm going to run the workflow. This might take a little bit of time, so in the meantime, while that's running, I am going to go back to the published pages. And let's just take a look at when Wei ran this, what did his outputs look like? So he created the baseline climate, he created the climate scenarios, and we've got anomalies that are plotted. So I'm just going to click on the little eyeball on the right, and up comes the box and whisker diagram for the climate anomalies. So he had pre-selected Tmax. We've got climate anomalies for each month of the year, and quarterly, and for the annual average. The red line is the baseline data, and then the box and whiskers are for the range of those temperature variations for the 5 climate scenarios that were chosen. Okay.
Great. So Dakshina, I think you just typed something into the box about ICRISAT chickpea data. Do you have audio? It would be great to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, can you hear me? I can talk?
Great, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I initially used this Niaro data, and I'm very successful with the workflow. But what I suggest you, if you can prepare a PDF document like integrated assessment 5.1, something like that, it will be very useful. Watching YouTube videos and then working on this is quite difficult for us. So if you can have a PDF document on workflow, it will be very useful for the users.
Okay, that seems to be a recurring theme. I think we're hearing loud and clear that we need some a bit better documentation step by step on just the very basics of getting started and building a simple workflow.
Yeah.
Dakshina, you'll be at the workshop in Victoria Falls, is that right?
Yeah, yes.
So hopefully you can attend the FACEIT workshop there, and we can, you know, maybe what we'll do at that workshop is start out very simple and we'll go step by step, and everybody will follow through with their computers. I think that's probably the best way to do that.
Yeah. This will be very useful. Yeah.
And just a question about the chickpea data. Is that you want that data in the portal, or you just have plans to use FACEIT for that data and you're building your workflows now?
Yeah, actually we have chickpea data prepared for the AgMIP phase 2. So we have collected some data. So I would like to use that one and work with the face IT so that I want to see the flow, because already available data if you use, we may not find some problem. But if you use our data, then I can see what are the potential problem. So I want to use the chickpea data to work on this.
Okay, so the first step is to, with FACEIT, you're not going to be generating your data sets. So still all of that is going to be done on your desktop with Quad UI and, developing these domes, and just as you did in phase 1. And so what we recommend is that you do that entire historical analysis where you're comparing with observed values on your desktop. So you've got your survey data is good, that your field overlay is good, you're getting good model outputs, and at that point you can upload your data to FACEIT. You can upload your seasonal strategy domes that will turn these in from a single year simulation into a 30-year simulation for current climate and future climate scenarios. And then use FACEIT to run those, those really big simulations that take a long time on your desktop.
Okay.
Yeah, so most of the data preparation is still going to be done on your desktop. So that would be, that's the place to start. And then once it works, it's a simple matter of uploading those files to FACEIT and then building your workflow for the seasonal analyses.
Okay, but meanwhile, I would like to upload this maize data which I have done in phase 1. So I will do that. And maize already we have done everything, so I will upload that data into the FACEIT.
Okay, there is a new way to upload data. So I'm showing it on my desktop now. I think you can still see this, can't you?
Yeah, we can see.
So I've gone to the basic page where I've got the tools over on the left-hand side, and then there's an upload files from disk, and when I click that, it opens this window. You can actually drag and drop files from your desktop to this window here. Okay, so I've just uploaded. I'm not even sure what that file is, but it's a .AgMIP file at any rate for a future climate scenario, and it's as easy as dragging and dropping that here, and I've now uploaded that file to my current history. Okay, so it shows up here. So that's probably the easiest way for you to upload your files, and then you treat these histories as just a file folder. You can upload all the files that you need for a particular analysis into a history, and then save that history with some name, and you can always come back to it then.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So I see that we are at the top of the hour. I'm willing to take other questions if there are some. I realize some people need to go. It's probably late in some parts of the world. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and I hope this was useful. It was definitely useful for us, because this is what we need, is to get feedback from people. So thank you if you need to go. Thank you for tuning in, and if you have questions, we're willing to stay on a few more minutes.
And I'd add, if you have any questions at any time, you can email us at faceitsupport@uchicago.edu. It's on the website, and we have a whole support team, and we'll get back to you quickly.
Awesome. Okay, I'm not hearing any other questions, so thank you everybody, and I hope to see a lot of you in Victoria Falls.